They look like castles, cottages, and quiet hills. But behind the beauty lies something far darker. These are the top 10 most haunted places in the UK, where every stone hides a scream and some guests never leave. One, Tower of London, London, England. They said she still walks there, not with rage, not with regret, but with dignity, even without a head. For over 900 years, the Tower of London has stood as a symbol of power and punishment. But behind its stone walls lies something far darker than royal history. Peter ad Vincula, where she was buried after her execution in 1536. Guards have described seeing a woman in Tudor dress, clutching her severed head, silently pacing the Tower Green Rite where she was beheaded. Visitors have reported seeing the ghost of Anne Boleyn, the ill-fated second wife of King Henry VIII, wandering near the chapel of St. When he turned around, there was no one. But the next morning, the door was found wide open and a single white feather lay on the chapel floor, Anne's emblem. One yeoman warder even claimed that on a cold December night, he felt an icy grip on his shoulder while locking the chapel door. But Anne Boleyn isn't the only soul trapped in time here. Screams of tortured prisoners still echo from the bloody tower, and shadowy figures have been seen near Traitor's Gate, where many met their end. So if you visit the tower at night and feel a chill pass through you as you look toward the scaffold, remember, some queens lose their crown. Anne lost her head and perhaps her peace. 2. The Ancient Ramman, Gloucestershire, England. They say the moment you step through the door, the house knows you're there. Tucked away in the quiet village of Watton-under-Edge, the Ancient Ramman may look like a charming medieval cottage. But don't be fooled. This 12th century inn is one of the most haunted places in the United Kingdom, and perhaps the most terrifying. Built on the site of an ancient pagan burial ground, the inn has a violent, cursed history. He was dragged from his bed, pinned to the wall, and once awoke to find claw marks carved into his chest. Visitors often flee in the middle of the night, claiming they've seen shadowy figures, heard guttural growls, or felt a hand grab their ankle from beneath the bed. Archaeologists discovered evidence of ritual child sacrifice. Beneath the floorboards, tiny bones and daggers arranged in disturbing patterns. The land itself was said to be cursed long before the first stone was laid. A priest who once attempted to cleanse the room was forced to flee, screaming, never to return. John Humphreys, the former owner who lived there alone for decades, reported nightly assaults by unseen forces. But perhaps the most chilling presence is the incubus, a demonic entity said to lurk in the bishop's room. The ancient ram doesn't just house ghosts, it devours courage. So ask yourself, if you walked through that crooked door, would you make it until morning? 3. Edinburgh Castle, Edinburgh, Scotland high upon Castle Rock. Where the winds howl like lost souls, stands Edinburgh Castle, a proud fortress soaked in blood, betrayal, and whispers from the dead. For centuries, this ancient stronghold bore witness to war, torture, and plague, but not all who entered ever truly left. One of its most chilling spirits is the headless drummer boy. His face was never seen in life and still isn't in death. Legend says that whenever his ghost appears, war is near. In 1650, just before Oliver Cromwell's attack, soldiers swore they saw a boy marching the battlements, his phantom drum echoing through the night. He played his bagpipes as he walked deeper and deeper, then suddenly the music stopped. They searched for days. He was never found. To this day, faint bagpipes are still heard beneath the castle when no one's there. No one had sent him. No one knew who he was, but that's not all. Beneath the castle lie the dungeons, where prisoners of war and accused witches were chained, beaten, and left to rot. Cold spots linger. Heavy doors slam without warning. Some visitors feel unseen hands tug at their clothes or hear desperate whispers in languages long forgotten. And then there's the tale of the Piper boy sent centuries ago to explore a newly discovered tunnel. So if you ever stand atop Castle Rock and the mist rolls in a little too fast, listen carefully. Is that just the wind? Or are the dead playing their final tune? 4. Pendle Hill, Lancashire, England, in the heart of Lancashire. Rising silently against the moorland sky stands Pendle Hill, a place where the ground remembers every scream, every secret, every curse whispered into the wind. This is the site of the infamous Pendle Witch trials of 1612. 12 were accused. 10 were hanged, and the fear never left. Locals claim that the hill is still haunted by the spirits of those executed women accused of witchcraft, not by evidence, but by superstition and paranoia. Hikers have reported sudden drops in temperature, nausea, and overwhelming dread while ascending the trail. Some even turn back halfway, unable to explain why. One chilling account came from a documentary crew in 2004 as they filmed near Mochen Tower's ruins where the witches once met. Their equipment failed. A man walking his dog near the summit saw a group of cloaked women standing in a circle. When he blinked, they were gone. His dog refused to move for hours. Cameras died, batteries drained. And when they reviewed the audio, a whisper cut through the silence. Leave now. But the most unsettling tale, Pendle Hill isn't just a landscape, it's a scar. And when the fog rolls in and the heather bends without wind, you'll know they're watching. Because once a witch calls a place home, she never really leaves. 5. Hampton Court Palace, Surrey, England. There's a hallway in Hampton Court Palace where time stands still, and if you listen closely, you might still hear her scream. This Grand Tudor palace, once home to King Henry VIII, is soaked in betrayal, blood, and one woman's desperate final cry. Her name was Catherine Howard Henry's fifth wife. Young, beautiful, and accused of adultery. He never did. She was dragged away, kicking and screaming, before being executed at just 19. Some collapse in tears. Others flee the palace altogether. When Catherine was arrested, she broke free from the guards and sprinted down what's now known as the Haunted Gallery, begging Henry to spare her life. Centuries later, visitors to that very corridor report a piercing scream, followed by icy cold air and the feeling of unseen hands pushing past. Her ghost is said to appear on the Silver Stick staircase, cradling a phantom baby just before dawn. But she's not alone. In 1995, a security camera captured a cloaked figure slamming fire doors near the clock court. No living soul was there. The media dubbed it the Ghost of Hampton Court, and experts couldn't debunk the footage. And then there's Jane Seymour, Henry's third wife, who died giving birth. Hampton Court isn't just a royal relic, it's a prison of restless queens. And if you find yourself walking its polished halls, don't look back too quickly, because someone centuries dead might still be chasing justice. 6. Borley Rectory, Essex, England. They called it the most haunted house in England. And once you hear what happened at Borley Rectory, you'll understand why. Built in 1862 on the grounds of a former monastery, Borley Rectory was never just bricks and mortar. It was a gateway. A place where the veil between the living and the dead was paper thin. When their affair was discovered, he was executed, and she was bricked alive within the convent walls. Her spirit, dressed in black, was seen gliding silently across the gardens, always at twilight, always alone. It began with whispers. Locals spoke of a nun who had fallen in love with a monk centuries earlier. When Reverend Smith moved in with his wife in 1928, strange phenomena escalated. Unexplained footsteps, ghostly faces in windows, objects thrown by unseen hands. The hauntings became so intense that famed paranormal investigator Harry Price was called in. What he discovered chilled even him. Messages appeared on walls pleading for help. Bells rang on their own. One seance claimed to contact the nun directly. She whispered, "My name is Marie. I wait for justice." In 1939, the rectory caught fire. As flames devoured the house, a brick wall collapsed, revealing the skeletal remains of a woman buried upright. Was it her? Borley Rectory is gone now, just ash and legend remain. But when a place becomes that haunted, do the spirits really leave when the building does? 7. Chillingham Castle, Northumberland, England. It doesn't just have ghosts, it has a dungeon that breathes. Welcome to Chillingham Castle, a 13th century fortress whose stones have soaked in centuries of screams, blood, and death. It was a place of war, torture, and torment, where enemies of the crown didn't just die, they were broken. Deep within the castle lies the infamous torture chamber. Original tools still hang on the walls: thumbscrews, cages, the stretching rack. During a renovation in the 1920s, builders discovered a hidden cavity in the wall. Inside, the skeletal remains of a young boy. It said you can feel the agony in the air, like the walls remember every moan, still appears. But the most haunted room? The pink room, home of the blue boy. For years, guests were jolted awake by a flash of blue light and a child's desperate cries echoing through the stone, and fragments of blue cloth. Waiting for her unfaithful husband who fled with her sister, she never remarried. She never left the castle. Since then, the crying has mostly stopped, but the light. Other sightings include the ghost of Lady Mary Barclay, forever wandering the halls. And if you walk the courtyard alone, you may feel a cold breath on your neck when no one's behind you. Chillingham doesn't need to scare you. It just waits, quietly. And if you stay too long, it might never let you go. 8. Pluckley Village, Kent, England on the surface. Pluckley looks like any other sleepy English village: quaint cottages, winding roads, and quiet fields. But don't be fooled. This charming place holds a sinister title: the most haunted village in England. With over 12 recorded spirits, Pluckley is not just haunted, it's crowded with the dead. At the Screaming Woods, travelers report hearing blood-curdling cries echoing through the trees at night. Locals believe it's the ghost of a man who got lost and died in despair. Even seasoned hikers avoid the woods after dark. At the old Black Horse pub, glasses slide off shelves, unseen hands tug at coats. She's believed to be a woman who died in grief centuries ago, buried with a red rose. Near the now abandoned schoolhouse, his silhouette has been spotted swaying from a ghostly rope, especially during autumn fog. Witnesses describe her as glowing faintly, weeping as she searches the headstones, perhaps still looking for her lost child. A mischievous spirit laughs from the shadows, though no one's there. Then there's the Red Lady, often seen wandering the graveyard of St. Nicholas Church, but the most disturbing of all, the hanging schoolmaster. Pluckley isn't just a haunted location, it's a haunted community. And when the sun goes down, the village doesn't sleep. It remembers. 9. Whippy Abbey, North Yorkshire, England, perched high above the North Sea. Its skeletal remains silhouetted by moonlight. Whippy Abbey watches in silence, but what it sees might not be living. This Gothic ruin isn't just beautiful, it's haunted. And its dark reputation inspired one of the most chilling tales ever written, Dracula. Her ghost, in a pale habit, is seen drifting silently along the broken archways, never looking up, never speaking. They call her the White Lady. One tourist claimed to see a woman kneeling in prayer among the ruins, only for her to vanish before his eyes, leaving behind the faint scent of old roses. But long before Bram Stoker set pen to page, locals whispered about a nun betrayed, punished, and sealed behind the abbey walls. Visitors often report sudden drops in temperature, even in summer. Cameras glitch, phones die. And then there's the black dog of Whippy, a spectral hound with glowing red eyes. Legend says it appears as a warning before death. A monk's figure seen at the cliff's edge, arms wide open facing the sea. Some believe he's waiting for redemption. Others say he's luring the lost to join him. But the strangest phenomenon? Whippy Abbey isn't just haunted by stories, it creates them. And when the fog rolls in over the stones, be careful where you walk. You might step into someone's unfinished ending. 10. The Scourge Inn, Monmouthshire, Wales. They say the walls of the Scourge Inn don't just hold memories, they hold souls. Nestled in the hills of Monmouthshire, this ancient pub claims over 900 years of blood-soaked history. During the 17th century, it wasn't just an inn, it was a courthouse, and upstairs, justice was swift and final. More than 180 men were sentenced to death and hanged by the very beam that still stretches across the staircase today. That beam, still there. The rope marks never faded. Guests who sleep in the upper rooms often report waking up unable to breathe, as if a noose tightens around their necks. Some awake with bruises finger-shaped on their arms and legs. Others hear heavy footsteps pacing above their heads. In rooms that are empty. In the old judge's room, glasses have shattered without reason. Cold gusts rush through sealed windows. And once, a bartender saw a man in 17th century clothing staring into the fireplace, then vanish when she looked again. Her soft sobbing has been heard in the dead of night, especially in room 3, her old quarters. But the inn's most tragic ghost is Fanny Price, a former worker who died of a broken heart. The Scourge doesn't just serve pints, it serves punishment. And if you dare spend the night, remember, not every guest checks out. Some are still swinging in the silence. You've seen the shadows, heard the whispers, but remember, these are just the famous ones. The UK is filled with haunted places still waiting to be discovered. So, would you dare visit them after dark? Subscribe for more tales the living were never meant to hear.